eyes. If you're someone who standing upright, if you have trouble grabbing your foot like this, like if your quads are feeling really tight, you can use like a scarf or a yoga strap and have it nearby to kind of act as an extension of your arm. If you can do this, then you're okay. So you probably shouldn't need one. So with that being said, let's start on our backs today. And we'll start in Supta Baddha Konasana. So bringing the soles of your feet together, let your knees fall open to the side and lay down. And as you settle in on your mat, just allow your eyes to close for a second. Take a moment to become a little bit more aware of your breath. Start to notice where your breath is moving in the body, if it's slow or fast. Become aware of how your body's feeling today, if there are some tight spots or sore spots, or if it feels pretty good. Remembering that within your practice, you can always modify anything that you might need to modify. Make sure you always find the version of the posture that feels best for you. As you lay here, start to deepen your breath. Allow your breath to move into the ribs and the belly, maybe the side of the body, allowing the back of the body to expand as well. Just take about 10 more deep, slow breaths here. About 5 more breaths. Now gently blink your eyes open if you close them. Bring your hands to the outsides of the legs, draw them together and pull your knees into your chest. And give yourself a little hug here for a second. You might rock side to side. You can make some circles with your knees. Notice how that might kind of massage the hip sockets a little bit. And now gently release your feet to the floor, hip width distance, toes point straight forward. We're going to do a variation on the ab work we sometimes do at the beginning of the class. So normally we start with our legs in tabletop position. Today we're going to start with them on the floor. So keeping your feet planted, reach your arms to the ceiling, palms facing towards each other. Now here, before you do anything, just feel the back of your body broaden and your low abs activate. Remembering that as we move, we want to keep this all as still as possible. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, let your right arm move behind you, kind of tapping the floor behind your head. Only go as far as your ribs can stay steady. So you'll notice the further back you go with the arm, the more your ribs want to open. As you inhale, bring your arm back to center, reaching towards the ceiling again. As you exhale, the left arm will go back. Now, same thing here. Focus on the stability of your torso. Keep the ribs knitted together, broaden the back of your body. And then inhale, bring it back to center. We'll do that one more time each side. Exhale, right arm moves back. Again, only as far as you can keep your body completely square and stable. Inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale, left arm goes back. And inhale, back to center. Now release your arms down on either side of you, palms facing up. Keep the shape of your body exactly where it is. As you inhale, hover your right foot off the mat, literally like 1 inch max. So notice how your hips might start to roll towards the right, how it might be hard to keep your low abs stable and your ribs knitted together. Take another inhale here. Then exhale, put that foot back down on the floor. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Inhale, left foot lifts off. See if you can avoid pressing your right foot into the mat to counterbalance. Exhale, left foot comes down. We do that one more time. Inhale, right foot hovers. Keep everything stable. Exhale, right foot down. Inhale, left foot hovers. And exhale, left foot down. Now from here, we'll inhale to low boat. So reach the legs off the mat as they extend. Arms reach forward, shoulders come off the mat. Stay here, feel the front of your body hollow out. Take one more round of breath. Next, inhale, high boat. Draw your knees into your chest, come to that tailbone. Then exhale, cross the legs, roll over the shins, and come to your hands and knees. So the hands align right underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And from here, we'll just move into our cow and cat. So inhale, drop your belly, bring your gaze high, really expand through the front of the body. And as you exhale, curl into your cat. Feel the back round and your belly scoop out. Inhale, drop your belly, bring your gaze high again, expand through the collarbone. And then exhale, curl into your cat, feel everything round. Come back to your neutral spine, reach your right arm forward and left leg back off the mat. So this is a concept we're gonna come back to a few times in our class today. Just be aware of the position you're in right now. So the few things that are easy to let happen is the back to arch. So if your back is arching, see if you can bring everything knitted together again as if we're lying on our back. It's also easy to start to let that left hip open. So see if you can close that hip and point your knee, hip, and toe towards the floor. Final thing to think about, notice if you're kind of sitting into your right hip and letting it jut out to the side. If you are, try to bring it back in alignment with the thigh. So with all of that in mind, take an inhale here. Then exhale, bring your elbow to knee underneath you. So finding a little contraction in the core. Inhale, extend it long, come back to that good alignment. Exhale, contract underneath you again. Inhale, extend. Exhale, contract. And then inhale, extend. Exhale, knee and hand come down to the mat. We're going to do all of that on the other side. So left fingertips reach forward, right leg reaches back behind you. Same checks here. Make sure the back isn't arching. We're keeping the right knee, hip, and toe pointed towards the floor. And we're not sitting our weight into that left hip. It's staying in alignment. Take an inhale here. Exhale, contract, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, contract. Inhale, extend. Exhale, contract. Then inhale, extend. Exhale, hand and knee come down to the mat. From here, inhale, puppy dog pose. We walk those hands forward, the hips stay lifted to the ceiling, and you'll lower your chest down towards the mat. Yeah, now you might not get the chest down all the way, that's totally fine. You can either have your chin on the mat or the forehead. Imagine really lifting your tailbone high. You should feel an opening in the heart as well as an opening in the fronts of the shoulders. Take another full round of breath right here. Inhale, start to walk your hands back underneath you, aligning the hands underneath the shoulders. Then exhale, tuck the toes, send the hips high, find your downward dog. Finding that V in the body, take a moment to pedal out the feet if it feels good. You can bend the knees, stretching into the ankles. Just kind of loosening up the lower leg, becoming aware of how your feet feel pressing into the floor. Take another round of breath of whatever movement feels good. Now step your feet in just about one step. So imagine you're creating a narrow downward dog here. Now right hand is going to reach under and across the body to grab the outside of your left ankle. Remember, there can be a bend in the knees here if you want. Once you have that grip, inhale, start to look underneath your left arm. So we're creating a spinal twist here. This can be as deep or as shallow as you want it to be. Notice if your hips swung over to the left, see if you can bring them back to the center. Take another inhale here. Then exhale, release your right hand, bringing it back to the floor. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So left hand reaches underneath and across, grabs the outside of the right ankle. Take an inhale, start to look under your right arm, keep the weight between your 2 feet, and exhale, give it a little twist. Really kind of finding that twist in the mid-back. Take another deep inhale here. And then exhale, gently release your grip, both hands on the mat. Bring your gaze forward and walk your feet all the way to the top, finding ragdoll. So feet come hip width distance. Take a generous bend in the legs, hang nice and heavy over those thighs. You might grab opposite elbows here. You might interlace the fingers behind the head. Whatever feels good for a moment. The key here is making sure your spine can feel relaxed and long so the knees can be bent to support the spine. Take another deep inhale here. Then exhale, gently release your arms. Keep the bend in the legs and roll up through the spine nice and slow. Eventually, when you reach standing, take a big shoulder roll up and back. Then step your feet together underneath you, finding your standing mountain pose, Tadasana. The legs are squeezing together, the feet are rooting down into the floor. Reach the crown of your head to the ceiling and find that same activation of the core and lengthening of the back. On an inhale, reach your arms high, let your gaze follow. Then exhale, hands come to heart center. Take a moment to bow your chin, close your eyes, set an intention for your practice this morning, whatever you would like to focus your mind on. We'll seal that intention with a breath. Deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Seal the lips. Start to find your Ujjayi breath here. So breathing in and out through the nose, we find a little constriction at the back of the throat, kind of like you're fogging up a mirror with your mouth closed. Gently blink your eyes open and we'll move into our Sun A. As you inhale, reach your arms high. Then exhale, bring your hands to your low back. So we're working into a supported back bend here. Keep the glutes active. Inhale, start to reach the chest to the ceiling as if you're arcing the ribs up and over your hands. Your exhale allows you to bend a little bit deeper. Think about the chest reaching to the ceiling. On your next inhale, take out the back bend, reach your fingertips high. And then exhale, forward fold over the legs. Try to keep the spine long. Inhale is our halfway lift. Reach the crown of your head forward, coming to the fingertips. And then exhale, plant the palms, step back into your high plank. Pausing for a moment in this high plank, remembering the modification is bringing the knees down to the mat. Take an inhale here. As you exhale with control, lower all the way down to your belly. Hug the elbows into your body as you do it. Once you arrive on your belly, untuck the toes. We inhale to baby cobra. Lift just the top part of your chest off the mat. Keep the hands light, so it's really the rest of the body pressing down and the hands are just there for a little support. On an exhale, gently release your chest down. We'll do 2 more of those. Inhale, baby cobra. Keep the back of your neck long. Exhale, release it down. Inhale, baby cobra one last time. Maybe hover the hands off the mat. And then exhale, release it down. Hands on the floor by the ribs. Inhale, press through your tabletop position, all fours. Then exhale, tuck the toes, send the hips high, downward dog. Take 2 full Ujjayi breaths here in your down dog. Bring your gaze forward, step your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine, and exhale, forward fold over the legs. Inhale, stand all the way up, fingertips reach high. We exhale, bring the hands to the low back again, second round. Inhale, reach your chest to the ceiling, arcing up and over the hands, then exhale into a gentle back bend. See if even though you're in a back bend, you can keep your low abs active. Inhale, take out the back bend, reach the fingertips high, and then exhale, forward fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, plant the palms, step back into your high plank again. We pause for an inhale in this high plank. As you exhale, lower to the ground, all in one piece, coming down to your belly. This time around, once you've reached the floor, reach your fingertips out in front of you. Think Superman. As we inhale, we're going to lift the chest, arms, and legs off the mat. So finding a locust variation here. The fingertips are reaching forward. See if you can find parallel in the legs. So the knees, toes, and tops of the feet point towards the floor. On your next inhale, reach your arms to the sides of your body, finding a capital T shape. Keep everything lifted off the mat. One breath here. Final inhale, reach the arms back behind you like an airplane. Lift the chest a little higher. And then exhale, release it all down to the mat. Bring the hands by the sides of your rib cage. Inhale, press to a tabletop position, all fours. And then exhale, tuck the toes, send the hips high, downward facing dog. 2 full breaths right here. Bring your gaze to the top of the mat, step your feet forward, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine. And exhale, forward fold over the legs. Moving into our sun B, inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. The legs bend, the arms reach up. Make sure your legs are together underneath you, your feet are spreading out on the floor. See if you can shift the weight back towards the heels slightly, and when you peek down at your toes, you should be able to see them. Take another deep inhale here, maybe sit a little deeper in your chair. Then exhale, forward fold over the legs. Inhale is our halfway lift, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, step your left foot back, setting up for Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. So that left heel comes to the floor. We inhale, reach the fingertips high. First Warrior One of the day, a few things to think about. Pull your right hip back and left hip forward so that you can find squareness through the legs. Another thing to notice is that the feet are about hip width distance in our Warrior One, even though it's more of a lunge. So make sure there is a little space between them. Take another inhale here, maybe find a little back bend, heart to the ceiling. And then exhale, bring the hands down to frame the foot, finding a low lunge. Keep your back leg active. As you inhale, reach the right fingertips high, finding a simple twist. And we'll just stay here for one full round of breath. So think about pressing the floor away from you here. Final inhale. As you exhale, bring your right hand back to the floor. Now grab your block with your left hand if you have it. If you don't have a block, your fingertips will stay on the floor. Now as we inhale, we're going to shift our weight forward, lifting our back leg to 90 degrees. So one hand is on a block right now, the other fingertips are on the floor. Now from here, reach your right fingertips out in front of you. So finding length from your right fingertips all the way back to your left leg. As you do this, imagine that you're in your tabletop position when we take one arm, one leg off the mat. Notice if you're sitting into that right hip. If you are, bring it back above the thigh. Notice if the left hip is opening and turning out. If it is, close it off. Now from here, activate the core so that the back of the body can broaden, and see if you can hover your left hand off the block. Take a deep inhale here. As you exhale, bring the hand back to the block, find a Shiva squat. So you'll bend your right leg, left knee taps that right calf. Bring your hands to heart center once you feel stable on your leg. As we inhale, we're coming all the way up to one-legged Tadasana. The left knee draws into the chest, the right leg straightens. Then exhale, left foot meets the right, standing mountain pose. Good job, you guys. We'll inhale to chair pose. So bend those legs, reach the arms up. Take a full breath in this chair. Again, sitting nice and deep into those legs, weight is shifted back to the heels. Another inhale here. Exhale, forward fold over the legs. Inhale, half lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, right foot steps back, setting up for Warrior One on our second side. So right heel comes down, bend that left leg. We inhale to reach the fingertips up. Making sure, again, this time the left hip pulls back. You're finding length through your lower back. That right heel is pressing into the floor. Take another inhale here, maybe a little back bend. Then exhale, hands come down to frame the foot, find your low lunge. Keep your right hand planted. We inhale to lift the left fingertips high. So just finding that simple twist for a moment, some rotation in the spine. Keep pressing the floor away from you with your right hand. Take another full round of breath. Final inhale. Exhale, left hand comes back to the mat. This time take the block in your right hand and place it on the mat. From here, we inhale, shift our weight forward, lift that right leg to 90 degrees. So this time those left fingertips are on the floor to start. Once you feel stable, reach them directly out in front of you. Now same things to think about. Bring your hip, your left hip back in line with the leg. The knee, toe, and hip point straight down to the floor of your right leg. Now start to knit the ribs together, broaden the back, and see if you can hover your right hand off of your block. Take another inhale here. Exhale, right hand down to the block, Shiva squat. Bend your left leg, right knee taps that calf. Once you feel stable in that leg, bring your hands to heart center. One round of breath here. As you inhale, one-legged Tadasana. Stand all the way up, draw your right knee into your chest. Then exhale, right foot meets the left foot, standing mountain pose. Good job, you guys. Inhale, find your chair again. Bend those legs nice and deep. Reach the fingertips high. This time around, as you exhale, bring your hands behind your back and interlace your fingers. As you do this, we're still sitting in that chair. Inhale, reach the hands towards the floor as the chest reaches up. Then exhale, fold over your legs. So with this posture, we're still bending deep into the legs. So this is kind of an Ardha Utkatasana with bound arms. You should be getting a stretch in the fronts of your shoulders here. Take another big round of breath. On your next inhale, stand all the way up. So the arms release and reach high, torso is vertical. And then exhale, forward fold over the legs. Inhale, half lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, left foot steps back, setting up for warrior one again. So bend nice and deep into that right leg. Inhale, reach the fingertips high. Now, just like we did in chair, as we exhale, we bring the hands behind us, interlacing the fingers. Inhale, reach the hands to the floor as the chest reaches up. Then exhale, humble warrior. The right shoulder moves towards the right thigh. The crown of the head reaches for the floor, and the arms move away from the tailbone. So a lot's happening in this posture. The legs are really active here. Take another full round of breath. On your next inhale, bring the torso upright again, and then release the hands, reaching the fingertips high. As you exhale, it's warrior two. So pivoting on your back foot, our arms come to our capital T shape. Notice that you might have to widen your feet for your warrior two. It's totally fine to make that adjustment. Make sure you're bending deep into your right leg, and it's pressing outward slightly with the knee so that you can feel your glute and external rotators contract. Inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Left hand comes to the left leg, right fingertips reach up and back. Make sure you're still bending nice and deep into your right leg. Another deep inhale here. Exhale, hands come all the way down to the floor to frame your foot, finding our low lunge. Once you find your low lunge, let your back knee come to the floor, untuck the toes. We'll inhale to Anjaneyasana. So the fingertips reach up nice and high. Our pelvis is heavy, so it's sinking towards the floor to get a deeper stretch in the front of your left leg. Take another inhale. As you exhale, find a cactus with a back bend. So the elbows pull down to the sides like goalposts. The chest reaches up to the ceiling. As you inhale, take out the back bend, reach the fingertips high. Then exhale, both hands come down inside of your right foot for our lizard pose. So you can toe heel your right foot outward slightly to create a little bit of space. And there are a bunch of variations you can take in this lizard. Since we're eventually working to dancer today, one variation you can try is bending that back leg to grab the foot with your opposite hand. This is going to give you that nice quad stretch. You can always do this with a strap or a scarf as well. You can also just come down to your forearms or stay right where you are. We have about 5 more full breaths right here. Final deep inhale. Exhale, if you grabbed your foot, gently release it down to the floor. If you came to your forearms, come back to your hands. We'll toe heel the right foot in between our 2 hands so they frame your foot. Tuck your left toes, activate that leg so the kneecap comes off the mat. Now take your block in your left hand again. We inhale to shift our weight forward, lifting your leg to 90 degrees. Now see if you can take all those same checks. Align your right hip over your right thigh, parallel your left leg, and reach your right fingertips out in front of you. Now from here, see if you can reach your left fingertips forward, finding Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. Try not to change anything about the alignment we just found. Take another full round of breath right here. Final inhale. Now keep the leg where it is. As you exhale, bring your hand back to the block in the floor, then gently bend your right leg, letting your left foot land behind you. We're back in low lunge. You can take your hand off of the block now. We'll inhale to high plank, so both hands are planted, nice and long through the body. Then exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. So keep the elbows hugging into the chest. Now we'll work into a shoulder opener today. We'll start with the left arm. So the left arm will come to a capital T shape, palm facing down. Bring your left ear to the mat. Right hand is by the rib cage. Bend your right leg and start to roll it behind you so that your weight shifts to your left shoulder. So with this, you should start to feel a stretch kind of through your pec, the front of your shoulder. If this is a lot, then just unroll a little bit. If you need a little bit more, you can roll a little bit more. We'll take about 5 breaths here. Two more breaths. Final inhale. And exhale, gently roll back to your belly. Once you're on your belly, bring your left arm by the side of the rib cage, so planting those palms. On an inhale, we'll pull our chest through, coming to an upward facing dog. So the palms will press into the mat, the legs are active, so the kneecaps are off the mat, the chest is reaching to the ceiling. On an exhale, send your hips high, find your downward facing dog. Take 2 full rounds of Ujjayi breath right here. Bring your gaze forward, step your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale is our halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Then exhale, step your right foot back, setting up for our warrior one on our second side. So right heel comes to the floor, we inhale and reach the fingertips high. Make sure that left hip is pulling back, bend nice and deep into the left leg. Take another inhale here. As you exhale, bring your hands behind you, interlacing your fingers again. Inhale, reach your hands to the floor as the chest reaches up. Then exhale, humble warrior. Left shoulder moves towards the left thigh. Hands fall away from the tail, crown of the head towards the floor. Make sure your legs are still really active here. They are your base. Take another full round of breath. Next inhale, start to bring the torso upright again, releasing the grip of the hands, fingertips reach high. Then exhale, warrior 2. Capital T in those arms. Remember, you can widen your stance a little bit, back foot's flat on the floor, then nice and deep into your left leg. Inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Left fingertips reach up and back. We're finding that deep side bend here. Take another inhale, lift the left side of your rib cage to the ceiling. Then exhale, hands come all the way down to frame your foot, finding your low lunge. Let your right knee come to the floor, untuck the toes, and we inhale to Anjaneyasana. So the fingertips reach high, the hips are really heavy here, dropping towards the floor. You should feel that nice stretch in the front of your right hip. Take another inhale here. Exhale, cactus, finding that back bend, the elbows pull down by the sides. Inhale, reach the fingertips high, take out the back bend. And exhale, lizard. Both hands come inside of your left foot, and that foot toe heels outward slightly. Take whatever variation you did on the first side. So that might be staying on your hands. You can come down to your forearms. You can also reach back and grab your right foot with your left hand. We have about 5 more deep, slow breaths in this posture. Wherever you are, see if you can maintain your Ujjayi breath through all of it. Final inhale. Exhale, gently release your foot if you have it. Come back to your hands if you are on your forearms. The left foot toe heels in between your 2 hands and tuck your right toes to activate the legs off the mat. From here, block goes underneath the right hand. So grab that block. We inhale to shift our weight forward, lifting the right leg to 90 degrees. From here, reach your left fingertips forward. Make sure you're not sitting your weight into your left hip. We're staying nice and lifted through the leg. Knit the ribs together and eventually reach your right fingertips forward, finding your warrior 3. Take another full round of breath right here. Good job, you guys. Next inhale, bring your hands back to the block in the mat. Then exhale, low lunge. That left leg bends, right leg lands behind you. Now let your right hand come to the floor off of the block, and we'll inhale to high plank. So left foot steps back. Then exhale, lower all the way down to your belly again. So we're taking the shoulder opener on the right side this time. So right arm comes to our capital T shape, straight out from the shoulder. Left hand by the rib cage, right ear on the mat. Bend your left leg, roll it behind you as you start to roll your weight towards that right shoulder. Now same focus on this side. You should feel it in the front of your right shoulder, into the pec. If you ever feel any pinching or tingling, just back out of it. You've got about 5 breaths here. Final inhale. Exhale, gently roll back to your belly. Once you reach the belly, bring your right hand by the side of the rib cage, left hand by the other side of the rib cage. On an inhale, pull your chest through. Come to your upward facing dog, kneecaps off the mat. And then exhale, send the hips high, downward facing dog. We'll take 3 rounds of cleansing breaths here. So take a deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Final one, inhale. And exhale, let it go. Seal the lips, breathe in and out through the nose, finding your Ujjayi breath again. And then on your next inhale, reach your right leg high. As you exhale, step through between your hands, setting up for crescent lunge. So the left heel presses forward. We bend deep into the right leg, and we inhale to reach the fingertips high. So with this one, we still have similar alignment as Warrior One. The only difference is the back heel is off the mat, which might make for a wider stance. So if you need to make more distance between your legs, feel free. Take an inhale here. As we exhale, bring your right arm back, left arm forward, twisting towards your right leg. Next inhale, right hand comes to the back of your left leg to exalt. Keep your inner thighs active. That's going to keep you really stable here. Those left fingertips are reaching up into a back bend. On your next inhale, take out the back bend, then reach both fingertips high, squaring everything to the front. Exhale, Warrior Two. So we've been here before. See if you might even bend a little deeper into your right leg. Make sure the outside of your left foot is really pressing into the mat. Inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior just for the inhale. And then exhale, extended side angle. Right elbow comes to the right thigh. The left arm sweeps across the body to reach forward. Imagine that your arm and leg are just one long line. So we're trying to make the fingertips reach all the way from that left foot. Contract the left side, lengthen the right. One more round of breath. Next inhale is our star pose. Bring the torso upright, both fingertips reach high, both legs straighten and the heels come in, toes out. So we're facing the side of the mat. As you exhale, it's goddess. Bring the hands to heart center, bend deep into your legs. Try to track the knees over the toes and keep the torso as upright as possible. So if your body tipped forward, see if you can come a little more shallow in the legs and align your spine. Take an inhale here. And exhale, bend the legs a little more. Good. One more time. Inhale here. Exhale, bend a little deeper. And then next, inhale, straighten the legs, fingertips reach high, and bring the feet parallel. So now both sets of toes should point straight forward. As we exhale, bringing the hands through heart center, forward fold over the legs. So now we're in our Prasarita. The hands are on the floor. Try to align the fingertips with the heels so they walk back a little bit. Find a bend in the elbows and try to reach the crown of your head to the floor. Keep shifting your weight towards the balls of your feet, trying to align the hips right over the ankles. You've got 5 full breaths here. Keep that spine nice and long. Final round of breath. On your next inhale, walk your hands back underneath your face and find a halfway lift. So bringing your spine parallel to the floor. As you exhale, we'll find Skandasana into the right leg. So start to bend that right leg. You have 2 options here. You can either keep the feet parallel, or if you want a little deeper hip opener, pivot the right toes outward slightly and drop the hips down so that your left foot can flex off the floor. You can keep your hands on the mat. They can come to heart center. Stay wherever feels most comfortable. You should be getting a stretch in that left inner thigh as well as a little bit in the right hip. Take another full round of breath. If your hands are at heart center, release them back to the mat. As we inhale, we pivot towards the right leg, finding a low lunge, so the hands support you as you get there. As you exhale, step the left foot forward just a little bit so that you can straighten the right leg. So we're setting up for our pyramid pose here. The feet can be a little more narrow if you need, and they should be about hip width distance. Take an inhale, find a halfway lift with the spine, pull your right hip up and back, then exhale, fold over the leg. Make sure your hands are on the floor supporting you. You can play with kind of where you like to place them. Some people like them a little more forward of the foot. Some like to walk them back a little bit. You've got 3 more breaths here. Try to keep the spine long and the core is active. Keep pressing the ball of the right foot into the floor to activate the back of your leg a little bit. Another full round of breath. Next inhale, find a halfway lift again, fingertips come to the floor. As we exhale, it's low lunge, so gently bend your right leg, slide your left foot back behind you. Inhale, high plank, right foot steps back, then exhale, bring your knees to the floor and bring the torso upright, setting up for our camel pose. So I talk about camel a lot every time I do it, just because it's very important to keep the low back supported and to kind of be aware of it. So a few things to think about. Make sure the knees are hip width distance. The hands are going to come to the low back. Now the fingertips can be up or pointed down. Do whatever's most comfortable. Now before you do anything, activate the glutes and lift your low abs. The goal is to keep those active this entire time. As you inhale, start to lift your chest to the ceiling, arcing up and over the hands, eventually exhaling. Keep the hands at the low back today so that they can keep the support. Imagine that you're constantly creating length in the spine, so it's a big spiral of the back. Take another full round of breath here. Next inhale, lift first from the chest, and then bring the head upright. And then exhale, sit the hips back to the heels, bring the hands in the lap for 1 round of breath. Gently blink your eyes open if you close them. We inhale to a high plank. So just slide the hands forward, tuck the toes and activate the legs. And then exhale, downward dog. Send the hips high. Take a full round of breath right here. Now starting from the left, as you inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, step through between your hands, setting up for crescent lunge. So right heel presses forward. We inhale to reach the fingertips high. Make sure the back of your right knee is pressing to the ceiling really strong there. Take another inhale. Exhale, left arm back, right arm forward. Twist towards your front leg. Find length from one fingertip to the other. As we inhale, we exalt. So left hand comes to the back of the right leg. Right fingertips reach up and back. You should find a nice stretch in the front of your right leg here. On your next inhale, take out the back bend. Reach both fingertips high. Square everything off. Then exhale, warrior 2. Bring your right heel to the floor, bend nice and deep into your left leg. Inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Left fingertips reach up and back, find that side bend. And we exhale to extended side angle. Left elbow comes to the thigh, right arm sweeps across the body and forward. Now again, imagine that your right arm all the way down to your right leg is one long line here. And that includes the rib cage. So if it's jutting out and curving, see if you can flatten that side of the rib cage by contracting your obliques. Take another full round of breath right here. Next inhale, we find star pose. Bring the torso upright, straighten both legs. Heels come in, toes come out. So you're facing the side of your mat. As we exhale, find goddess again. So hands come to heart center, bend nice and deep into the legs. Now this time around, bring your hands to the tops of your thighs just above the knee. Take an inhale here. Exhale, drop your left shoulder down, finding a little twist in the spine. Notice as you do this, you can press your knees open a little more for a deeper hip stretch. You might shift the gaze over to the right shoulder. Take a full round of breath right here. Inhale, bring the shoulders back to center, untwisting. Then exhale, drop the right shoulder down, twisting the opposite direction. Again, keep pressing the knees outward, maybe gaze over the left shoulder. Another round of breath. Inhale, untwist, straighten the legs and reach the fingertips high. Parallel the feet so that both toes point forward. Then on an exhale, fold forward again, bring your hands to the floor for our Prasarita. Now this time you can take the hands where they were before, or if you want to grab the outsides of your ankles or wrap your fingers around your big toe, you can do that as well. So just kind of find whichever variation you want. No matter where you go, the crown of the head's constantly reaching to the floor. Think a long spine as opposed to a round spine. Shift the weight to the balls of the feet, hips are lifted high. Take about 3 more breaths. Final round of breath. Inhale, bring your hands underneath the face and find a halfway lift. As we exhale, we're finding Skandasana into our left leg. So start to bend that leg, the right leg stays straight. Now take whichever variation you took on the first side. So you might keep your toes parallel with the hips lifted. You can also pivot your left toes outward and drop the hips down as the right heel comes to the floor. You can keep your hands on the floor in front of you or bring them to heart center. You've got 3 breaths. Final breath. Now bring your hands to the floor. On an inhale, start to pivot towards your left leg, finding a low lunge. Nice, you guys. Step your left foot back. And then exhale, bring your knees down to the floor, finding our camel for the second time. So the torso comes upright. Align the shoulders over the knees. Knees are hip width distance. Bring your hands to your low back again. Now this time you can play with going further as long as it doesn't mean pressing your hips really far forward and sitting into the low back. So as long as you can keep the lower abs and pelvis stable, you can go further. Take an inhale, find some length through the spine, lift your chest to the ceiling. Then exhale, just imagine you're lifting your chest so far up that it eventually has to go backwards. Once you reach your depth, you can release your head behind you. Take 3 breaths. Next inhale, lift the chest first, then the head comes up. And exhale, sit your hips down to your heels, bring your palms in your lap. Take just a couple rounds of breath here, enjoying this neutral spine. Good job, you guys. On your next inhale, slide your palms forward, tuck your toes and send your hips high, downward facing dog. Take 1 full round of breath here in your down dog. Now bring your gaze forward, step your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen the spine, and exhale, forward fold over the legs. Inhale, stand all the way up, fingertips reach high, and as you exhale, keep your left fingertips lifted, just release your right arm down by your side. So we're working into our first round of dancer here. This is the time where if you can't grab your foot with your hand, grab a strap or a scarf or something that can act as an extension for your arm. So the right arm is released down by our side. The palm is facing towards the right as well. So the arm is externally rotated. Bend your right leg and grab the inside of that foot. Once you have your foot, notice if you're arching your back already, and if you are, find some length in the front of your left hip. And then see if you can point your right hip to the front instead of opening it to the side. On an inhale, start to kick your foot into your hand, which will eventually start to lift your leg. Eventually, find your maximum kick, and you can start to reach your left fingertips forward. So that body only tips when you've kicked as hard into your hand as you can. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. Remember that your foot's pressing into your hand's pressing into your foot. On your next inhale, we come back the way we went in. So the torso comes up, your right knee comes down, and then exhale, just release your foot, bring both hands by the side of your body. Take a round of breath right here. Now we work to the other side. So right fingertips reach to the ceiling. Left arm is down by the side, palm faces out. So we have external rotation. Bend your left leg, grab the inside of your foot with your left hand. Now again, notice if the hips open, bring them to point forward again. On an inhale, start to kick your foot into your hand. Remember, you don't need to go high. Even if today you just get the feeling of kicking the foot into the hand, then that is a great step in the progress. Once you find your maximum kick, you can start to tip forward, reaching your right fingertips to the front. 2 more breaths. On your next inhale, start to bring everything up again. Left knee comes down. And exhale, release the foot, bring your hands by the side of your body. 1 round of breath right here. On your next inhale, reach the fingertips high, let the gaze follow. And then exhale, fold forward over the legs, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, lengthen the spine. Then exhale, tuck and curl. Bend your legs, drop your tailbone towards the floor, and really think about rounding your spine here. So almost bring your forehead towards your knees. Take a full round of breath in this posture. Now keep the curl. Gently start to just let your weight shift backwards and bring your tailbone to the mat so you're eventually seated. Extend your legs out in front of you. And today we're going to take a passive Paschimottanasana, so you can even give yourself a little distance between your legs. They don't need to be squeezing together. We'll inhale to reach the fingertips high. Now just kind of shake the legs for a second. Make sure your feet are relaxed and your quads are relaxed. Now as you exhale, just reach your arms past your feet and start to drape your torso forward. If your belly does not rest on your thighs in this posture, you can keep your forearms on the mat. That's a great option. You can also rest your forearms on your legs. So just finding a place where you can feel kind of supported here versus having to pull or kind of force the stretch. Let the back of your neck relax. Let the spine round. We're going to stay here for about 10 breaths. So just let everything relax as much as possible, breathing into the backs of the legs, letting any tension in the spine release as well. You have about 5 more breaths. Final round of breath. On your next inhale, roll up through the spine nice and slow. And then bring the legs out wide for our Upavista Konasana. So you can angle your body if you need. We're just bringing the legs wide out to the sides of the body. And again, we're taking a passive version today. So the only thing really to focus on is that the knees don't start to drop forward in this one. We are trying to keep the knees pointed to the ceiling. So bringing your hands out in front of you, find an inhale, lengthen the spine. And then exhale, walk yourself forward, coming to the depth where you can feel supported in this posture. So that might be still on your hands, maybe your forearms, maybe on your elbows, maybe all the way down. Once you settle in, make sure the feet relax. You can even relax the quads here. We have another 10 breaths. Final round of breath. Next inhale, start to walk your hands back up nice and slow. Once you're upright, bring your hands to the outsides of the legs and draw them together in front of you. Just take a second to windshield wiper your legs back and forth, kind of linger in the internal rotation on each side. Just letting this feel good for another round of rocking side to side. And gently bring your knees back to center. Extend your legs out in front of you. Arms reach forward. We're rolling all the way down to our back. So start to articulate through the spine. Imagine that you're holding straps or something in front of you that are resisting you rolling down to your back. Eventually, keep the core strong as you lower all the way down. From here, bend the legs, plant the feet flat on the floor, hip width distance. We're going to take 2 rounds of bridge today. So the arms release down by the side, palms pressing into the mat. On an inhale, press your feet into the floor and lift up the hips. Imagine you're squeezing something between your legs as you do this so that your inner thighs activate. And then activate your glutes, nice and strong here. So that's going to help support you in this posture. Take about 5 full rounds of breath. Two more breaths. Final inhale. And exhale, gently roll down, allowing the tailbone to come to the floor. And just pause for a round of breath right here. So working towards our second round, realign the feet and knees if you took them anywhere else. Arms down by the sides. On an inhale, press the feet into the floor, lift the hips up. If you want to take it a little further, you can tuck your shoulders underneath you slightly and interlace your fingers like we did in chair pose. If you do that, press your arms into the mat and notice how that allows you to get a little more height in the hips. Wherever you choose to go, make sure the knees aren't flaring to the side, so our active inner thighs are keeping the knees in alignment. The glutes are strong, you're finding length in the front and back of your body. Take about 2 more full rounds of breath. Final inhale. Exhale, gently release your grip if you bound the hands, and we exhale all the way down to the mat again. This time you can let the knees rock side to side if you want. You can let them fall in towards each other. Just taking a second to neutralize the spine. From here, bring the knees back to center. Arms come to a capital T shape, so palms on the floor. Then bring your legs to a tabletop position. So the knees are straight out from the hips, 90-degree bend in those legs. Take an inhale here. Then exhale, let both legs move to the left side of your body for our supine twist. As you do this, try to keep the same angle of the knee to the hip. So we still have that 90-degree bend at the hip. Your right shoulder is staying heavy on the mat. And then allow your gaze to shift over to the right if that feels good. Try to relax the body as much as possible, so you might close your eyes. Try to release muscular tension in the body. You're here for 10 breaths. You have about 3 more breaths. Gently bring your head back to center first, then bring your legs back to center. You can draw your knees into your chest, give yourself a little hug for a moment, maybe rock side to side, just kind of feeling neutral in the spine. Then when you feel ready, bring your arms back to your capital T shape, legs are back in tabletop. Take an inhale here. Then exhale, let both legs fall to the right side, finding your supine twist on this side. Let your left shoulder be heavy onto the mat. Your gaze might shift over to the left. Let your eyes close and let your body relax. Again, just allow yourself to kind of clear your mind, getting to that resting place. You have about 3 more breaths. Gently bring your head back to center first, and then legs back to center second. And this time we'll work to a happy baby. So grab the outsides or insides of your feet, then bend your knees, pulling them down and around the rib cage. Try to lengthen your tailbone down towards the mat so your spine can feel nice and long. Then you can add whatever movement feels good. You might rock side to side. You can extend one leg then the other if you want. Just kind of getting any last bits of movement out before we eventually work to stillness. Take about 1 more full round of breath here. Now gently draw your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your legs, and tuck your chin into your chest. So imagine you're curling into a tiny little ball here. Any extra tension that's in your body, any extra stress in the body, gather it all into the midline here. Take another inhale, squeeze it all even tighter. And then exhale, Shavasana. Allow the legs to extend long onto the mat. Head and shoulders come down, arms released by the sides, palms facing up. Allow your eyes to close. Just let go of everything we've done in this practice. Let go of anything you have to do after this. Allow the mind to clear. Let the breath find its natural rhythm in and out of the body. Allow the eyebrows to relax. Let the eyes fall back into the socket. Let the jaw unclench and the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. And in that same way, just work your way down your entire body. Imagine that you're laying in something soft like sand and that you're sinking deeper and deeper into the floor. And for the next few minutes, just maintain this sense of relaxation and emptiness. You can stay in this Shavasana for longer if you'd like, but if you're ready to start waking up, start first by deepening your breath. Maybe start to wiggle your fingers and toes, maybe rock your head side to side. If it feels good, you can reach your arms back behind you like a good morning stretch from your fingers all the way down to your toes. And then gently draw your knees into your chest. And keeping your eyes closed and your focus internal, just start to make your way to a seat in whatever way feels good. Once you arrive in your seat, bring your hands to heart center and allow your chin to bow. And just take a moment to thank yourself for doing something good for your mind and body for an hour out of your morning. The light within me meets, greets, and honors the light within you. Namaste. All right, great work, you guys. I'll go ahead and unmute everybody. I know Kalai and Kathy had to run right on